All right. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining in. I would love to discuss this topic. It's one of my favorite topics, which hasn't been discussed till now to me yet. And it was kind of my mission, a quest to unravel what is the dark side of software development. I'm Vibali, and I will be taking this talk. Okay, so let's go ahead. Right. Okay. So I'm pretty sure all of you must have heard nothing but praises about software. Software industry is great. You should switch your just switch your job to software industry. Just you'll have probably everything you need if you get to software. You'll have good compensation. You'll have good work-life balance. Your life would be set. That's what they say, which is very true. I believe having a job in the software industry is way better than most of the jobs out there, right? Because you won't be unemployed anytime because everyone needs software uh, engineers all over the world. But there is a reason why I ventured into this dark side of software development. That's because not all is actually well in software industry right now. I'm not saying in terms of like it's gonna go crash down or it's not up to the mark. I'm just saying it's not utopian as it seems to be, right? So as you can see here, it's like denial, bargaining, anger, depression, acceptance, uh, in place of testing, deployment, and coding. So the reason why I am doing this is because let's say you get a job in the software industry, and you all the image that we have of software is this a really perfect image. But when you enter the software industry and then you realize that okay, everything is not as perfect, then you start to question your decision, right? So this is where I think it's important for you all to know what problems will you face in the software industry, which I said earlier is not talked about much. And the best thing about it is actually you can resolve them very easily. If you already know about them, it won't come as a shock to you and you won't kind of doubt your decision about it. All right, then let's get started. So I feel I can categorize them into two parts. One is the technical side, and one is more of the social side, or let's say interacting with people, your co-workers. The technical side is not that huge because you got into software industry, you got through an interview, you were hired. So there is not a question that you are, let's say, not competent. But as you are in the industry now, so some problems or just some issues arise that you have to take care of, and they mainly is what I feel is keeping up with the pace of technology, right? As you see, like every new day some JavaScript framework comes up, you have to keep up with it. You hear your colleagues talk about it. So this is a lot of things happening in the industry right now, and it's a little hard to be updated with almost everything that is happening, right? So let's just give it a test. If you feel that you are lagging and you are not using the latest tech stack in your current project, then yes, you face this keeping up with the pace problem. You feel like jumping to every other thing and learning multiple tech stacks at once. Especially like I do that all the time because everything is just so exciting in software industry and you want to be a part of it. You want to be the start of the revolution, right? And if there are any senior developers here, I'm pretty sure you must have heard junior developers discussing some new framework coming about that they want to use in the project, which you have no clue about. So, if on the first glance, this might be a little embarrassing, just as a human, human psychology and all that, but it's actually really simple. The solution is very, very simple and straightforward, and that is that you just have to accept that you know what, I don't know everything. That's totally fine. But instead of having a fixed mindset, I have a growth mindset. Like I want to learn, right? I'm not a know-it-all. I'm a learn-it-all. Like this subtle shift in the mindset pays a lot in the long run. And so for example, if you're a manager or you are a senior developer and you kind of are in the situation, you can just tell it to your team or the person who put forward this new tech stack idea. You just explain it to the team, right? And above all that, you are just one Google search away to figure out what your colleagues are talking about. So no need to feel like you are not up to date. You cannot do what they are doing, right? And let's say you want to switch jobs in some other tech stack that is, you find it exciting. So just try to measure the trade-off, right? Just try to measure that, is this what I want right now? Am I just going in because it's the fad right now? Will it pay me for the long run? A lot of things you should measure before jumping onto any tech stack, because learning a framework, learning a new language takes a lot of time and resource already when you are working 9 to 5, right? So, and you cannot learn 10 languages at once. That's just impossible. You might buy like 5 Udemy courses and you will never finish it. You know that too, right? So just focus on one thing at a time, tackle it one language at a time, and I'm pretty sure you won't face this kind of little, it's a nitpick, but a lot of people struggle with this, and then they just go into this imposter syndrome cycle. So just be aware about that. Okay. The next thing I think is maintaining the legacy code. It is very scary. I think legacy code is, I guess, one of the scariest things that no one wants to touch in a team. If you are, uh, if the manager decides that, okay, you know what, just go on, add a feature above the legacy code, and you're like, no, I can't do it. I don't even understand. The documentation is not updated. Everything is just out of place. I don't know how it works, but it just works. So I think we all been in a situation. So how do you tackle this? So I was actually talking to my friend about this, and she said that if you don't work on the legacy code, then that becomes the dark side, right? Just take a time for it to sink in. So I think for a person to show what a great engineer uh, a person is, you need to take the initiative, right? You need to step up and change it, like change the code. Like if you do not change it, then it becomes the dark side, like I mentioned before. And the most important thing you can do is, if you want to, go up to the ranks at any company, is to take on more responsibility. And legacy code is an area where no one wants to get involved. So, this is the best test, a sign of a really good engineer. This is your chance to make an impact in the company. So, why not? Just it's an opportunity rather than a dark side. Okay, so just let me know how, if you feel there's any other dark side in the technical side, and if we have time, we can probably have a discussion about it. Okay, moving ahead, which is actually I think the major part of what we are not taught at boot camps or even in undergraduation, is how to deal with people. Because at the end, you will have to kind of work in teams. You'll be under a manager. You will report to your co-workers. So people are involved at every stage of software development. Most of the companies have an HR round, and they try to decipher how good of a team player you are. So having social skills is really important for any software engineer, and this only comes from experience. Like I said, there are no boot camps for it. So let's just take a look at it. And this is the part I love. Like, I took the job, but no one told me I'll have to deal with people. I thought it was only going to be code, but that's not how it works. All right. I think this is one thing that I've seen a lot is coding is actually really, really, really addicting. And I'm pretty sure, like, how many of you think that coding is addicting? In terms of that, you won't get up until you solve a bug. Like, who has been in a situation? Like, every day I'm just like that. Like, I'm not getting up until I solve that bug. And it's just, you get that great feeling that, oh my God, I am competent enough to solve this bug when you actually resolve it. So it's just, I think it's really an addictive activity that hooks, many people are hooked to it, kind of. But because of this, the first image. So what do you do for a living? I write code. And outside of work, I write code. So that is our life. Like, we just write code and code and code and code because it's a loop. I said we are addicted to it. That's why we are in the software industry. But because of that, you probably would kind of, won't have a social life. You might have coworkers, but you won't have anyone else beyond that. So you probably feel a little lonely. Your work-life balance would just go, like, I don't know, like here and there. And so this is something that you need to take care of. If you want to like resolve bugs, let's say maybe once in a week, that's fine. You stay up all night. Who cares? But if you are doing it day by day, week by week, month by month, I'm sorry, your social life is not there. Above that, which is because of you sitting for 8 hours, 9 hours on screen, okay? And also, most of the screens right now are not eye friendly. Most of the new software engineers don't use good chairs, or the people who are just fitting in the software industry. Because of that, you will definitely encounter eye strains, and because of that, headaches. You will get neck pain and back pain, right? This is, I guess, very common if you don't follow good lifestyles. So for the eye strain, personally, the 2020 rule has worked wonders for me. And using a eye friendly filter, or I think it's called a night light. I'll talk about that later too. It really reduces the strain from the screen. And definitely use dark mode if it's fine with you, because you have to sit in front of the screens for a long time. So better take care of your precious eyes, because if you won't take care of eyes, then how will you actually do your job, right? And neck and back pain, for this you need to have like a, just invest in a good chair. It has a good lumbar support and a good neck support. I will probably help you sitting for long hours. And there are actually extensions that I'll also just share, this next slide, that actually help you to yeah, just let me, yeah, that actually help you to kind of take a break, because as I said, it's addictive. We just keep on saying, we just keep on coding, not taking care of our health. So such softwares like Stretchly, which I use, right, I'm using it right now. So what Stretchly does, it just gives me reminders about breaks and intentional reminders about, okay, just for 5 minutes just relax your neck, for 5 minutes just do an eye exercise. It makes a lot of impact and would also increase your productivity. So keeping your workstation different, like away from your resting place. So this is like a proved theory. I've read it many places. If just sleep where you want to sleep, work where you want to work. And then having work apps on phone is a complete no-no, because apps are the easiest way for you to access that particular platform. So let's just not keep work apps when they're not needed in the office hours, right? And I was talking about the eye strain. There is a software, Flux. I love that software. I use it. It's I think one of the best, kind of an eye shield type of software. So you can definitely work on that too. All right. And a bonus thing you can do, you can actually read a book by, it's called the Healthy Programmer. It's actually really, really good for that. So you can probably try it out. Okay. So a very interesting topic to me is how we deal with the managers. Okay. A lot of people actually don't have good relations, or I would say good mental relations with their bosses. And that's probably because of, I'd say, some miscommunications, or just you don't have a good understanding of it. So the whole thing actually is, yeah, there is actually a good probability that your boss doesn't have a technological background, right? They're also under pressure from their superiors to release a feature in a short period of time. So this can result in low quality code as well as a weaker foundation for future builds. So you are annoyed and furious with them, which leads to an unhealthy relationship between you and a loss of trust. So this need not be a case. Save this bad blood by, just having a good communication with your boss. Okay, how to have a good communication is just frankly tell them that this task is really unrealistic. As I read a book, Help Your Boss Help You, which I'll also mention later. Just having a very genuine conversation with your boss actually helps that helps the boss to understand why they're unrealistic. You can discuss the level of effort that goes in. So instead of keeping mum, you need to raise your voice and actually put forward your concern. It's as simple as that. And in 95% of the cases, your issue would be resolved and you won't have to follow through their unrealistic expectations. And you can't do that until and unless you understand your boss. So, understanding your boss is just, it's more about understanding how is the commercial side of the business and the chain of command in your company. Most of the times software engineers don't take any interest in it, and so this is a cycle. Like, you don't take interest in it, you don't understand your boss, so you have to make some effort towards it. I think the best way to actually get an image of what your boss wants from you in the software industry is, I actually read this book and I really loved it. It's called Help Your Boss Help You. Most of the books you'll see are about being an effective leader, being an effective technical leader. But this book is for us, the people who have to follow the boss's commands. So definitely give it a read. I love the Pragmatic Programmers publication. All of the books are fantastic. And I highly, highly recommend that to all of you. All right. So do let me know in the comments, how do you deal with your managers and your bosses? Okay, right. So the whole point is unhealthy competition for compensation. So it's about that you get paid a lot to work, let's say, 12 hours per week. And I'm pretty sure it's this particular section is more about people who actually are currently in the software industry, and I'm pretty sure they might have faced this, is that you might be checking Blind is like an app where you can see salaries, the compensation for different roles at different company, but the people providing that particular details about that compensation is anonymous, but you still get an idea. So a lot of people are actually addicted just checking out the salaries of other companies, how much are their peers getting paid. So if you are also in this loop, and if you feel a constant need of improving yourself to get a better salary or offer, I think you probably are fighting, an unhealthy competition for better compensation. Now, how does this actually get unhealthy? Because it's great if you are working hard to get your dream job, but actually what happens is a lot of developers who are they're just running for money, and they're switching jobs after every 6 months. They're switching companies every 6 months. So constant comparisons between peers regarding salaries and stock options have made things extremely competitive, which is affecting their happiness. Why? Because switching is actually not easy. Having this urge and this motivation to work hard to get a better salary or offer is definitely a great push for getting better roles. But at some point, you will overwork yourself because there is no end to this greed. Hence, you will stop enjoying your job and you'll only, keep on just doing the same activity again and again. So, but you'll have to, so whenever you feel that you are in this situation, then you need to think that switching is actually not that easy, right? What happens is, um, if you are a recruiter and you see, as you can see here in this particular cartoon, is let's fix this with a temporary solution. But the person says, but that will create more problems in the long run. And he's like, yes. And the person is like, we would have changed jobs back then. Okay. So this particular attitude, I guess, no company wants that in their candidate, right? So when a recruiter checks your resume and they see that you're switching so frequently, your integrity will get questioned, and this will reflect, I said, in your resume too. It would be clear that for you money matters more than software, right? Also, you would have to start the process of knowing, like, the whole uh, basic thing of knowing how the company works, how you will have to make new friends, you will be new team, the adjusting will take time. So this would be quite of a havoc for you too, right? Also, one of the most important thing is that life is not all about money, right? Like Gandhiji said, there's enough for everyone's needs, but not for everyone's greed, if I quoted him right. But I think we all get the message that let's not be greedy and take care of our health too. Okay. So, yeah, okay. So, a good work life balance, a good peer group, and working on more challenging problems. This is what should matter to you in the long run. So, that is all from my side that I feel are particular things that you need to keep in mind about a very less talk topic, that is how what is not well, or what is not well with the software industry, or what can bring the dark side out of you in the software industry. It's more about that.